Hey everyone, welcome back to the Always Closing podcast. Today I got a very special guest. Ginger Orsi is joining me today. So thank you so much, Ginger, for having me and welcoming me into your beautiful office here in Hollywood. We got some awesome views in this office, so thanks for having me today.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for coming out. So we're here in the Compass Hollywood office, and we have great views on the 6th floor of the CNN building on Sunset Boulevard. So it's a nice day. It's nice and chill, not too hot.
Yeah.
So coming into
They
fall.
got some really cool views. You got the Hollywood sign on the other side.
Yeah.
And this is the CNN building, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, do they film here, or are they just more like a corporate office? Or
I think they actually film here, so it's a pretty exciting place to be. We got a coffee shop on the bottom. Get all the Star Tours going by every day.
I saw that when I was parking. They're setting one up across the street. So this is like prime time Hollywood. Right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we also are the #1 office in Hollywood. Sell the most real estate in LA.
Wow.
And Compass is now the biggest brokerage in the whole nation.
Nice.
By sales volume, yeah.
So, I mean, how do you like working for Compass? Have you always been with Compass, and what have they done to help you in your career?
No, so I haven't always been with Compass, but I love working with them. I've been with them for about almost 3 years now. I joined at the end, so 2 years or so. I've joined at the end of 2020, and so I'm just kind of getting my feels here with Compass in Hollywood. I really like it. I'm on the Lauren Reichenberg team. Lauren's a longtime mentor and colleague of mine.
Awesome.
From back in my flipping days. So she took me on her team during the pandemic, and we've just been gangbusters selling properties in Northeast LA. And Compass is an awesome culture to be part of, and just kind of really happy to be here.
Seems like it. I mean, just walking around the office, everybody kind of seems like they're in a good mood, and everybody kind of talks to each other. And trust me, I go in a lot of offices. You don't always see that in other offices. Everyone's kind of just I don't know anybody here, so it's just it seems like a cool environment to work in.
Yeah, it is. And they're a tech company, so they really focus on trying to provide us with the tools we need as agents to work from anywhere. So it's a pretty cool place to be. And then we'll have networking events and specialty events. Like today they have yoga here. I'm bummed I'm missing it. I didn't know about it, and I'm not dressed.
Yeah. Cool. Well, for people who may not know you, why don't you give us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, how you got into real estate, what made you want to get into real estate?
Definitely. Yeah, so you and I are from the same area, the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
The most trees in LA County, I think is what we're known for.
Right.
But yeah, so I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley and also in Hollywood. I was an actor as a kid, so I grew up kind of behind the scenes and in front of the camera. So this is like a
cool.
blast from the past for me, getting interviewed. But yeah, so I ended up as an 18-year-old getting a job working in set design, and I was working for a production designer named Preston Sharp.
Okay.
So I came into real estate through design. I learned how to design homes, fix stuff up, also sets. Okay. And during the Great Recession, everything kind of slowed down with the last writer's strike in Hollywood, and I got an opportunity to work for a real estate investment company called New Urban Residential, and came on as just a kind of entry-level assistant, started designing and flipping homes with them. And it was a small company, family real estate office, so I was able to kind of gain a lot of traction there and become the investment manager for the company. We ended up flipping over 50 houses between 2011 to 2016. And we also did multifamily builds and repositions as well of about 65 units, built around 20 of those being townhomes. So that's how I got into development and stuff. I always think of it as my path to development was through Hollywood. So it's nice to come back here to Hollywood, to Compass's office, and kind of go full circle.
That's really cool because it seems like you've kind of seen a lot of aspects of the whole business already, right? From design to flipping to now selling real estate.
Absolutely.
So that's very cool. what were you, since you've been in it a while now, like who were you when you first started in this industry and who are you like now? Like how have you grown throughout the years?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a big difference was I was behind the scenes, you know what I mean? So I was creating spaces to be sold by other agents. And I kind of got to learn from agents in the LA area that were selling our properties about how to sell a property, how to market a property, how to work with clients. And so I was like, all right, I think I could do that, Yeah. So I started out as a principal and, as a designer and a flipper. And that gave me, I think, a good baseline for the business. So for me, what I say for my clients is I give them investment grade service like you would get at a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company for your everyday buyer and seller. So,
very cool.
It includes everything from having an agent to negotiate, that's me, having a personal, project manager through the whole process, that's my assistant, Manya, and then a transaction coordinator, a great brokerage team by your side here at Compass. And so we really just try to provide that full service that you would get as an investor, including due diligence, repairs, coordination, everything down to your notary service for the everyday buyer and seller. So it's just taking that baseline that I learned in real estate investing at the beginning of my career and applying it to all my clients now. Nice.
So would you say it's important to like specialize in a certain aspect of the business? I mean, it seems like like a lot of different aspects of it, but would you say it's a good thing to be a specialist, and do you consider yourself a specialist maybe in a certain area or certain types of like transactions?
Yeah, I think it is important to specialize because that's how you get the most experience and you let your clients know what you're doing, right? So I'm focusing on Northeast LA and specializing in, which I always kind of have, older homes, historic homes that need work or have been fixed up. And in addition, obviously with my development background, I'm always interested in new construction as well. So it's basically, my specialty is Northeast LA specifically, from Hollywood to Pasadena, and anything that someone could see that they could put their own spin on it or someone has actually fixed up. So regular properties, everyday homes from 1 to 4 units, but with an investor's kind of point of view on it.
Very cool. Yeah. Is there a certain reason that you chose like Hollywood or Pasadena? Do you have a special love for that area? Do you know a lot about it? Is that why you chose those areas?
Yeah, so like we talked about, we both grew up on the east side of LA County, so I've always kind of felt at home on the east side of LA. I love the old homes. I fell in love with like the 1920s, craftsman's and Spanish style homes and Victorian homes from, the late 1800s in Northeast LA, Echo Park, Silver Lake, Highland
Park. And I see
Park.
you post a lot of those type of proproperties, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients have bought those, and so I've been really grateful to help them through that process. And knowing the weaknesses and the strengths of those homes, I think definitely lends me to it, because it's not your everyday house. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they have a lot of charm, and they also have a lot of challenges.
They do.
So
a lot of the neighborhoods too, right? Especially like Pasadena, you get those tree-lined streets, and it just like sometimes you don't feel like you're in LA when you go down some of those streets,
Exactly.
So it's very cool. It's very nice.
You get that kind of quaint feeling of like, everyday like Americana in Northeast LA, with like the proximity and the excitement that LA has to bring,
Right, exactly.
So I think it's, there's a lot of small businesses in that area as well, which I love. So in my Instagram, I'm going to be featuring, restaurants and stuff in the area, just to continue to like try to give back to the community that, I really like being a part of.
Awesome. So let's talk about kind of like affordability right now. Obviously, people are saying it's at an all-time low. It's tough right now with the prices and the interest rates. So how do you, what are you suggesting to your clients right now? And then on top of that, what do you tell them to kind of keep people motivated? Maybe people that are in those first-time buyer range, or just people that want to upgrade. It's a little bit tough right now. So how do you see things going, and what are you telling your clients?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It is a difficult time for affordability, and in general, we have a housing crisis in this country and in this city, and a big part of that is just zoning, So I'm a huge proponent of building more housing, right? However we can do that. I got to throw that out there first. Like I mentioned, I'm building an ADU, and I'm a big fan of all kinds of housing being created in a sustainable, safe, new way, in California especially. But at the same time, I believe that you should buy whenever you can, right? So whenever you feel like you're financially ready and you're going to stay somewhere for at least 4 years, buy. Right. Because I've met so many people that have told me, I could have bought this house back then and I stayed renting, and now I'm stuck renting for the rest of my life, you know? And so if it makes financial sense to you, if it makes personal sense for you to buy, go ahead and buy. Right now, rates are high. We know they will come down in the future. We don't know exactly when. So you do have to be prepared, have some savings, have a backup plan. But hold on to that property. I went through the first recession in my first home here in LA, and I rented out rooms. I was young, and that was how I was able to hold on to that property. So stuff happens, but as history has shown, real estate's one of the best investments you can ever make, if not the, in your life.
Especially here.
Yeah, especially here. So, do your best to get into a property, even if it is a condo, for instance. Right. And I know a lot of people just want a house, but your condo or your starter home, even if it's outside the city a little bit, is going to be your ticket to your dream house down the road.
Yeah, to use it as a stepping stone.
Exactly.
And a lot of people have been saying, like, a lot of the same things for not just this year, but the past 3-4 years. Like, I'm going to wait. It's going to, like, prices are high right now. Prices are high right now. So, like, I get it. Right now it is tough because you got the high prices combined with the high interest rates.
Right.
But, it's the days of pre-COVID prices, I don't think are coming back. If anything, maybe just the interest rates will go down. But if you're waiting for those prices back then, I just don't think it's going to happen again.
Right, I agree, and I think that multi-generational housing is a good way to go, especially here in LA with the new ADU laws. You can build ADUs on basically any property. Right. With SB 9 and 10, you can go up to 4 units on single-family properties.
Wow.
Which is incredible. The state is taking a move to make it more affordable. So maybe you go in with a family member and there might not be a second unit there yet or a third unit, but you build that, and right. We have such great weather here that we can co-live with people and enjoy the outdoors a lot more than you can in other places. Like we talked about, like, Arizona or Minnesota or whatever, where you're stuck
right.
inside for 4 months out of the year. So be creative about ways to buy real estate.
Yeah, it's a very good tip. And I like what you said about just like being prepared, because, sometimes maybe right this second you might not think it's the perfect time to buy, but if you start preparing yourself, this is what I tell people, like, get your credit in order, get your savings in order, and, make sure your job is good, like, so that when the right house comes up, or maybe a good first time buyer program comes up or something, it's like you're ready, you don't need to, like, oh, now I need to fix my credit, or now I need to, like, if you kind of stay ready, you're going to be, you can jump on the deal when it comes, and they do
right.
happen sometimes. So, or these great programs come out sometimes, like that help you with a down payment or something. So, as long as you stay ready, I think you're going to put yourself in the right position to buy something.
Absolutely. And one thing on that is people, I talk to a lot of first-time buyers that are, like, afraid to talk to me or a lender or somebody.
Yeah.
And, like, this is what we do for a living. So
right.
You're not bothering me. Like, feel free to hit me up. I'm here to help you. I
right.
really love what I do, and I have a passion for real estate. And I think it's a great way for people to find, a solid foundation in life beyond just financial, but also just to have a place that is their own. It's a really valuable thing. So I believe in, like, the intrinsic value of home ownership. And if you're not there for 4 years, that's fine. We can talk now, and that might take 10, 15, 20 minutes, but that might set you up for buying that property down the road. And
right.
so I'm always happy to have that conversation. I notice a lot of first-time buyers are like, I don't want to bother you, and so then they don't know what they don't know, you know?
Right.
So,
and I've noticed that with a lot of people that I've interviewed on this podcast is like, when you really love what you do, I mean, it's going to help you succeed. But on top of that, it's like you don't mind talking about this stuff. Like it's kind of fun. I mean, that's why we talk about it. That's why we do a podcast, because kind of we enjoy talking about these things. So yeah, you're right. Like you're not bothering us. You're not, you know, if anything, even if you know it's like you don't have to have a conversation because you may get a deal out of it, but you're willing to help. Most people are really willing to help. They like talking about it. And like you said, if it's something down the road, even 3-4 years, you can kind of get it started on that path now.
Yeah, and one of my biggest like joys in real estate is providing that great service like I talked about to a client. Mm-hmm. And what I find is when you can do that to someone, even if they're not yet ready to buy, but you provide them with the best you can at that time, all the information, resources, they will come back to you or they'll send somebody back to you. And so it's really about nurturing those personal relationships and providing really good service to people. It's a service industry, you know.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid to talk to an agent or a lender. And I think that there's a lot of great programs out there too for down payment grants for first time buyers. And it's really all about who's going to go and get it. You know what I mean? Right. So the buyers that are actually looking at properties, who are actually talking to lenders, who are checking up on the market, who are keeping in touch with their agent, are the ones that are going to get those down payment grants, for instance.
Exactly, because they go fast.
The state of California just gave out 20% down to thousands of Californians. Yeah. And they go fast. So,
we processed some of those at our escrow company. You know, people would say, like, I would have never been able to afford this house if it wasn't for this program. Awesome. But I think those funds ran out in like 10 days or something, you know? So that's why another reason I was saying is, like, you have to put yourself in a position where you're ready, because if something comes out like that, you want to be able to jump on it. So
right, and you close those deals.
Yeah.
See, I was trying to, but I couldn't get in there. But I'm hoping next time. Right. But I do like working with first.
I heard they're going to do it again towards the end of the year, though. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm in touch with some lenders. And but the key is, as a buyer, is you got to be in the market. You have to be shopping, because you have to get under contract once you're approved very quickly in order to claim those funds. Those funds are not granted to you until you're under contract, or preliminarily granted. Right. Yeah. What did you learn on your side, on the escrow side?
Well, you know, I'm more on the sales and marketing side, so I didn't really do a lot of the processing on the escrow stuff. But yeah, I did see a lot of people come through, and they were just like, like kind of what you said is like they were just really like, their agent or their lender was really like doing a lot of research on what was coming up. So they were just like, we literally had to jump on it like the day it came out, you know, like, because it just ran out so fast. It was a matter of days before that money ran out. And I think next time they're saying they're going to do it again, but it's even less money. So I think it might even go even faster. Yeah. You know?
And there's also other options, though. You know, there's VA, there's FHA, there's zero down programs. Yeah. There's doctor's loans. There's all kinds of stuff. So people kind of wrap their head around what works for them. And sometimes it's a conventional loan and it's saving up and stuff. So any of those are fine. Just any way that you can get into home ownership. If that's what you want to do, you should do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you're talking to a good lender, I mean, they're really going to present all the options to you, and you can kind of decide what's the best path for you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of options, you know. It's not one way to go about this.
Exactly. And I've never been high pressure. Like, I'm not a high pressure salesperson, so I've had clients that said, look, these rates just got to the point where it doesn't make financial sense for me. We were all the way in escrow and they canceled. That's fine. You know, I'd rather that than them not try, you know, or than them buy something that they can't afford, because affordability is an issue. But what people need to know is that they can explore these options without, you know, losing anything, really.
Yeah. Where do you see the market going from here? Like, I know you don't have a crystal ball, none of us do, but I like to try to get everybody's perspective and see, where do you think, you know, there might be a shift in the market. I mean, some people are saying real estate's going to crash. Other people are saying, no way, that's never going to happen. I mean, and then some people say, like, hey, it's just going to be a soft landing. You know, there's all kinds of different opinions. So I like to get everybody's perspective. Where do you think it's going from here?
Right. Well, now that we're like in late 2023, I think it's really like interesting, because in the investment world, people have been waiting for a crash since, I remember when I was working with New Urban, they're like, 2017, everything's going to crash. And I think that we still have a lot of anxieties from 2009 and what happened and how many people lost their home and how many neighborhoods were ravaged.
And you were in the industry.
I was in the industry. I came into the industry at that time. So it provided opportunity at the same time, but it also provided a lot of hardship. And I experienced it myself. Like I said, I had to rent out rooms and, you know, make ends meet, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a tough time. And I think that our country is still actually like recovering from that, you know, because if you think about it, it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And it was the biggest, you know, economic crash that we've had since the Great Depression, right? So, and that was basically 100 years prior, you know?
Right.
So do I expect anything like that to happen in the near future? No.
Right.
What I see happening right now is kind of like a stagnant, inflationary economy.
Okay.
And so a big risk to that is like just stagnation, right? Where nothing is really happening because everything's so expensive, and so I know that's something that the Federal Reserve is trying to keep their eye on, you know.
Right.
Of course, the market is cyclical, so it will have a dip. A dip actually did occur last year.
Yeah.
And now we've seen to bounce back up from that. Will we get another one? Probably. You know, they happen, but in the long term, the trend line of real estate, even if it dips, it goes up. You know what I mean? So I guess my answer is yes and no, but probably more so on the no side if we're talking about a massive crash in residential. There's just not enough houses for that to happen, and there's so much investment capital ready to eat up any house they possibly can. Right. I say eat up, you know, but it's true. There's Wall Street money behind residential housing. All this stuff didn't happen before the last crash. Right. So during the last crash, no one was like really ready, you know, and now you have so many different parts of the industry ready, and you've had the industry reformed in order to prevent that. And so what's happening is everyone is staying put, enjoying their house, and we don't have enough of them.
Right.
You know?
A lot of agents right now, at least that I've seen, are getting out of the industry, like trying new things because things are, you know, slow. But what has kind of kept you busy? What has kept you motivated? I know we talked about it a little bit. It's like, you know, it opens up more time to do things like this because things have been so crazy the last couple of years.
Right.
So what's kind of kept you motivated and busy in this slower time?
Oh yeah, I mean, number one, it's been able to like network with people post-pandemic, like meeting you today. It's awesome, you know, and I think I have a greater appreciation for that. So, you know, I'm starting like some networking mixers and just really like meeting up with people for coffee that, you know, I haven't seen in years. So, and working on my marketing more, working on my website, all that kind of stuff, you know, and hopefully creating more assets that will be valuable for my clients when I am so busy that I can't do any of this kind of stuff again, you know. So I think it's a really good time to like work on your craft, work on your brand, and also, you know, work on any other parts of the real estate industry that you work in. Like I mentioned, I'm a developer, so I always have a side project. Right now I'm building an ADU. So it's a great time to you know, kind of flex your muscle and see, you know, what new opportunities might be out there, what new connections might be out there for people in the industry. I wouldn't say you should get out of the industry because real estate's always going to keep going. You just have to figure out, you know, how to add more value to the industry in a slower time. Right.
And I think people like you and me who have gone through the 2008 and have seen the ups and downs and the bigger cycles, you know, we know it's like when things are good, you know, don't like think it's always going to be like that. And when things slow down, it's also not going to always be like this. So you got to kind of like not get too high, not get too low, kind of ride it out, save when things are going good. Yeah. And it helps you out in these situations. And I mean, we've learned personally and as a company in those times. I mean, our office was a pretty big office in 2006, 2007, and it kind of went down to just a couple of us like hanging on, you know, we made it through it. Yeah. So now like when things started to slow down, and I know it's not nothing even close to how it was back then, but it's kind of like we're more prepared and kind of had that experience to just like, we'll make it through this, you know, just stay calm. Yeah, and work-life balance, you know. I think that like you can
work, 12-hour days very easily in this business, like I think all of us were probably doing in 2021, for instance.
Right.
And so what are your hobbies? What are your interests? How do you find like peace? Like for me, I love, getting outside, hiking, going to the beach. We have all this great weather here. I like yoga, meditation, animals, like music, like get into the things that you're into and fill your soul because you have a little bit of time.
Right.
Because sometimes, the business world can be a little bit soul draining. And I think this whole pandemic we went through was very hard on people. So it's not just about making money. It's not just about, of course, that's important. We all have to make money. But it's also just about finding balance in your life, and so maybe this gives agents and escrow officers and everybody an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to transition into your social media because that's how we found out about you, and we're looking at your profile and we're like, she seems really interesting. I think it's someone we want to interview. So tell us a little bit about like how you grew your following to where it's at now and kind of like your strategy or just your ideas about social media and how it plays into being a realtor and helping you with your business.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that it brought us together because I think that's why I started the social media, was just to connect with people during the pandemic. A friend of mine is a social media expert. His name's Nikola Sikolovich, and he helped me set up my page. So shout out to Nikola. He's kind of like a marketing guru, and so he's like, Ginger, you got to get out there and put yourself out there and, share what you know about the industry. At this point, I had been in the industry for almost 10 years.
Sorry about that. That was our timer for the last one.
Okay. Is that your parking or?
No. The timer for the camera is telling me.
I'm just playing with you because we're down here in Hollywood. We're always running down to our
You got to set those alarms.
Yeah, but so yeah, my friend encouraged me, and he was just like, share your knowledge, and just get people interested in what you're doing, and so I was a little nervous, but I've been putting myself out there, and it's been really good because I've gotten good connections from it. I have met clients through it. I've made some sales through the process of my Instagram specifically. So that's been kind of my focus in social media, has been on Instagram, but also on LinkedIn as a business professional. So it's been great. It's just like there's so many people out there, and I think it's the way that we connect with people now on a community level. It's through social media.
Right.
We don't have like the traditional town square, and a lot of the time when we're out at events or things, it might not be the best time to talk to somebody about real estate or plans, know. So
sometimes people are like, they just feel more comfortable just sending you a DM and just asking you a question through there, right? So
absolutely,
that opens up that line of communication sometimes.
Yeah, and I feel like some people who need to move, which are a lot of the people that are transacting in real estate right now, it's like, hey, can you come see my house tomorrow? And it's like just this direct line of communication that they have with me. Yeah. And they can set up an appointment right there on Instagram. And I can also send them a video like, hey, there's this video on my Instagram. I'm going to shoot it over to you that gives you, the 5 steps to buying a home, for instance, for first-time buyers. And so it's just like this iterative process that we can use without needing to like call or text each other right off the bat. It's just a nice like way to get to know somebody.
Right. Yeah, I think it's really important nowadays. I mean, whenever I have anybody join our team, like sometimes if they don't have like a page or something, I'm like, I know maybe you're not really into this, but and I'm not gonna make you do it, but it's really important that you do it. You're gonna see, because not only like you become known on the social media world, but I mean, when you go to events or networking things, people might know you from there. So you're just not like unknown to everybody, you kind of like put yourself out there and people get to know you. So yeah, I think it's really important, especially if you want to get yourself out there more and try to like maybe make some more connections, really important. How often do you post? Like, do you try to stay on a schedule, like a certain amount of posts per week, or are you just a little more casual about it?
I'm a little bit more casual, but I am trying to make like 2 videos a month right now. That's my goal. And so those are more like edited videos or home tours or information for buyers or sellers, tips, things like that. Yeah. So, and then in addition, I post on my stories, weekly, every couple days at least. Compass has a lot of great social media stuff for us to share with our clients. They do a ton of research and stuff, so it makes it easy for me to go and pull market data or anything like that and share with customers and people in the industry.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tough to kind of come up with content ideas, so that you have that at your disposal is pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. And follow me at Ginger Orsi on Instagram.
We'll post all this stuff too, so they have your information. One thing I saw on your page I had to ask you about, the classic Camaro. Is that yours? And it is. That's such a cool car because like one of like my all-time favorites and something I want to have one day. But I saw it, I'm like, that's so cool. That's your car. So
thank you.
Tell us about that. When did you get that? Or have you always been into classic cars like that?
That is my car, and I think a lot of people are like surprised that it's my car because it's usually like an old guy car, you know.
Do you go to appointments in that?
I do, yeah. So mostly in Northeast LA because I live in Northeast LA, and I don't want to take the car out to the west side all the time or whatever. But I do love to take the car out for open houses, for appointments, for showings. And like I think the picture you saw, it was parked in front of one of my listings, and it just kind of goes well with the classic feel of a lot of the homes we sell on our team. So yeah, that's my car. I've been in love with classics since I was a kid. Just kind of like an admirer of the style, culture and stuff. My dad's a car guy, so he's always kind of he's kind of a vet guy.
My dad is too.
Is he?
He has 2.
Okay. My dad has 1, but he did have 2 until recently. And so I think like my first car, I was like, I guess just I'm totally a daddy's girl. So I was like, well, if he's a vet guy and I don't like the sharpness of the vet, it's a little too sharp for me. I like the kind of
bigger
more
body,
curvy lines of the Camaro. Still very sharp car, but a little bit more smooth from a design standpoint. And so as a designer, I just love the look of the Camaro. So my first car was a 91 Camaro.
Nice.
And
those are coming back hot now too.
Yeah, I know.
Those IROCs, those are like, they're coming up in value. Like people are gonna want those now next.
Totally. I wish I held on to it, but you can't hold on to everything, especially moving around LA and around the country. So like I closed a couple big deals in 2021, and so I've always like had that as a goal in my real estate career, in any career, just that I would one day get a classic, have a place to park it and stuff. So the 69 I fell in love with. It's a kind of iconic car of the era, and I bought it from the original owner. It was a LA native guy. He owned it since 1969, and so we just really connected on like the love of the car. It's the original color, and so it's just really classic style, all black, 69 307. Automatic because we sit in too much traffic out here. But yeah, I'd love to bring the car by and to one of your events or something sometime.
For sure, I'd love to see it. Yeah, I'm really into classics too. My dad has a early 80s Corvette, and then for his 60th birthday, me and my mom bought him a new Corvette. So he kind of has like the old and the new. And my brother has a Camaro, so we're kind of like a Chevy.
You're a Chevy
family too. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So I like the more like the Impalas, like the bigger bodies. Like my favorite year is 65 because it kind of has like that muscle car, but still like that LA lowrider feel to it, so you can kind of get a little best of both worlds. Definitely. So that's kind of like I've always liked those two, either the 69 Camaro, 65 Impala. So we'll see. One day when I have more room and somewhere to park it, I'll probably get something. Yeah.
We're parking one car on the street just to keep the Camaro safe. So like it's a struggle having a classic with the parking in LA, but I was talking about like work-life balance and stuff. So that's another thing that I'm looking forward to doing now that the industry has slowed down a bit, is getting the car out there and going to like Bob's Big Boys, Coffee and Cars.
Yeah.
Some of those car meetups and shows and stuff. And I'd love to connect with other
Yeah, some of my friends
classic.
that have classics who they do that. Like, have you heard of Cruising PCH?
That's
like a meetup that they do. I don't know if it's every weekend, but I know they do it quite often too, though.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. So
I'll send you the information and we'll meet up for something like that.
Oh yeah, that would
days.
be great. Yeah, I mean, so that kind of thing,
Yeah, absolutely. What's something that someone doesn't know about you, or like everyone doesn't know about you? Something that maybe you haven't put out there before.
I'm
This one always throws everybody off.
I'm very weird and like goofy and stuff. I think that like I like to do like weird voices and make up my own words. I have a language with my sister.
Yeah.
We speak our own language together, a Schlalschwing. So my sister and I both grew up in the industry, and I don't know why, but we just created this language together. We thought we could talk to our dog, but I don't know if that's a good reason. So yeah, I think sometimes I come off as very business and stuff because I am professional, but I'm really kind of a big goof at the end of the day.
That's really cool. That's funny. Yeah, I think a lot of people relate to that too, because me and my brother and my friends, same thing. We just make up words sometimes. You just roll with them. Other people hear you say it, and they're like, what the hell are they saying?
It's a sibling thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, lastly, do you have any last tips for anybody watching this? Maybe like an agent that's struggling, or maybe an agent that's new, something that you've learned over the years, and also where can people find you online?
Oh yeah, so I already plugged the Instagram, and yeah, you can find me by just searching my name, Ginger Orsi, ORSI. It's like, it means bears in Italian, so rar. But yeah, I think my tips are just like get out there and network with people. Number one, I think that marketing is really important, whether you do mail, online, social media, email. Stick to it. Like, come up with a plan and try and stick to it. But more than anything, try and get together with people, connect with people any way that you can. So whether it's online, getting coffee, going to networking events, hosting open houses, going to open houses, going out to events and socializing. I think that's a great way, and joining clubs and things that you're interested in. It's a great way to like meet more people. So it is hard to put yourself out there. I get it. A lot of the time people got into real estate because they love homes and they like architecture, or they like helping people, and they never thought they were going to have to be this like marketing guru, you know? So just
it's
like...
definitely a people business though.
It is.
And a lot of times, I know we push like social media, getting out there, but also you got to get out there in person as well.
Yeah.
Because I think as much as maybe someone might want to connect with you online, when it comes to really like doing business, I think you got to take that step of like get out there, meet people. And I feel like people want to do business with people that they like, and I feel like you're not going to really ever get that connection until you really get out and meet someone. Absolutely.
And there's people that probably want to connect with you too. I think research has shown that people are really dying to connect with each other. So you might be surprised that you put yourself out there and people come along, and it just kind of goes naturally from there. And then my other tip for new agents is just get involved in the industry however you can, whether it's volunteering or working for a property management company. It's okay to not only be an agent, but stay in the industry. You know what I mean? So I think like that for me, working for an investment company was a great way for me to get started. I could have never just jumped in and been an agent. I would have been too scared, and I wouldn't have known what I was doing. So I always encourage people to work for escrow companies, for property management companies, for other agents, and learn.
There's so many different routes you can be involved, and you can maybe do two things, agent doesn't always have to be full time, or if things are slow, then you have other things that you can fall onto. So
exactly,
that's a great tip. Well, Ginger, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and inviting me into your beautiful office here. Hopefully we could do it again soon.
Yeah.
And go cruise PCH
Yeah,
or
let's cruise
something.
PCH, man.
And thank you again to everybody watching this episode of Always Closing Podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. And if you can help us out by subscribing and liking the video, it really helps us out so we can do more of these. And we'll see you on the next one.